another drawing video, Mr. Sherlock Expo class. Welcome back, Crown Point. Mr. Sherlock here, Expo, doing another drawing video for you guys. Hoping you guys are enjoying drawing along with me. I've gotten some good feedback, gotten some good pictures sent to me over the last week, and I can't wait to see what you guys do today with me. So, looking at doing a cave drawing. I was doing a little research this week about what kind of stuff I should draw with you guys because I'm really enjoying doing these drawing videos. And I think caves are a pretty interesting idea because they can kind of be scary. They can also be interesting. People used to write on walls of caves and draw on walls of caves, and they kind of have this allure to them that is interesting. So for my cave drawing, I want to be like looking in. So if I'm looking in, I need to start thinking about composition. If I'm looking in, that's going to mean the center of my drawing in the middle is going to have the insides. The outside needs to be framed. So if you can think of a frame of a picture, right, it goes along the border. And so I'm going to want to start by building myself some rocks. And you see I'm just using a jagged line. And I can kind of give it some texture. See, I'm just going to give it the idea that there's different surfaces. And that's what I'm doing with those three lines there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And see, they're going all different directions. The reason they're going all different directions is all the facets and folds and creases on the rocks. And I'm just going to overlap. You see, so I've got one rock out front. I have another rock behind there. This one's much smaller. And then I can maybe have another rock. Maybe I have the whole rock in this here. Maybe this is attached to bedrock or something. You see it just kind of falls off. Doesn't need to look attached. Doesn't need to be isolated or separate. And we're going to keep doing those same kind of lines on all these rocks. And you see I'm going to start from behind. So these are overlapped. And rocks, they're like we did in those other videos. They're organic shapes. There is no definition to what rocks look like. So I'm going to keep going all along the bottom here. Maybe I have some poking through. Maybe I have some really poking through, like this is a big old pile of rocks. Like I'd have to climb over a bunch of these, right, to start getting inside. Maybe I want to add some vegetation. Do you see I can add like some grasses? And those are just pointy, 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 pointy back. Like they're just growing out of the ground. And I don't think too hard when I draw. At least I don't try to. I want things to kind of come naturally to me. I want them to feel natural. So working on my pile of rocks again, adding those facet lines or those face lines. And I'm going to keep going all along the bottom here. And I'm going to make it to the side. And now I've got that whole bottom covered. Maybe I want to add a few more plants over here. Good. That looks like someplace I might actually go, right? A lot of rocks, a lot of plants. Maybe I even have some plants coming out in between some of these rocks. That seems like a good idea. Just occurred to me. So there we go. We got our rocks. Now we need to start building up and around. So start thinking almost like an arc, right? Like I've shown you guys before, I'm going to grab my pencil to demonstrate it. I can even lightly, if I wanted to, you might not be able to see that line, but I drew myself a real subtle arc just to kind of give me an idea of where this is going to go. So I'm going to start building these giant rocks. Some of these, look, you see, I just have a kind of curve. I don't have any real idea where that goes off to. Maybe they're still attached. And I'm going to keep doing this. Actually, this is how I'm going to start this. I didn't even know this till a second ago, but you know what? Now I know. Because I can see it in my mind's eye. And that is the greatest muscle an artist has is not, it's not in the hands. It's up in your head, and it's being able to see things before you do them or create things out of nothing. Being an artist is kind of like being a magician. You got a ton of tricks up your sleeve, and you never know when you're going to use them. So here we go. I'm going to keep doing lines like this. They're going to curve and fade off, curve and fade off, curve and fade off. They might sometimes go larger. Maybe down here we might have comes back a little further in that curve, and that's fine. Might even add another layer. Might even come back here, throw in some more boulders at the bottom, like that's supporting this, right? Because an arch is a very strong shape, right? We know that by studying the Romans and their use of those things. And I'm going to start also using some of these just little curved lines for these rocks. So we can kind of get a feeling that they're round. You see how they follow the contour? The contour of that rock, right? Because it's coming out into the world and now it's curving into this cave. Who knows what's inside this cave? I'm sure we'll discover that as we keep going here. And you see, they're almost like clouds in a way. That's how I would also conceive of drawing clouds. Yeah, those contour lines are really working out well. Maybe come back and do some of those face lines or faceted lines. And those are also kind of I guess, a form of texture, right? Because you know how a rock feels. I don't want these to look like they feel soft. They're going to be hard. And I'm now that I've started coming up this way, I need to start bringing this side around. And so just like I did over here, maybe I'm going to have like a giant boulder up front. Give it all those lines, texture. Because that's one of the hardest things to convey in art is how do things feel, because I'm not actually making a rock, I'm drawing a rock. I'm drawing something, I'm representing something on a two-dimensional plane, so it's all tricks, right? I have to make people think that this is what this is supposed to look like. And they have to believe in my drawing. And if I believe in my drawing, I come up with enough good tricks. You see I'm doing those same kind of lines, but this time they're going, instead of going this way, I might even exaggerate a few of these. Come back here as I look. See my eyes just jittering around the page all the time while I draw, just trying to balance things out. Whatever I'm kind of doing here, I'm going to want to mimic over here. I can see I can join those up. There we go. Look, we have that arc, but this one's real full of texture. We need to recreate those same kind of effects on the other side. And I will tell you guys, I miss hanging out and drawing with you guys in person, because you know what? Sitting here in my basement recording these without kids raising their hands and making comments and giving me even good ideas of things to do. Not nearly as fun, you know? And I've got to keep my wife and child all quiet upstairs so I can record, so you can listen to my little conversations with you. But hopefully, you guys are enjoying a little break from your day right now and maybe having a lot of fun and drawing with me. There we go. Look at that. Reasonably balanced. I got some. I feel it's like a little more active over here. I was kind of more into this side than I was this side. I really didn't know what I was doing over here, so I might come back and start giving it just some balance as I jitter my eyes around the page. I can see the spots that I need just a little more, some more lines, right? The density of lines over here was a little different, but they're reasonably in balance. And in preparing for this, I was thinking about what's inside the cave, right? Because right now we have a lot of options, we have choices too. To me, the stalactites and stalagmites are the super cool parts of caves. And what if there was like caves inside of caves, or what if this was a cool place for us to explore, right? And I was even just thinking, what if there was like right here at the opening? What if we kind of had like a tree, like the last sign of life before it goes into the abyss, right? You see, I'm just making Y's. You see, it's like a letter Y, like a 3D letter Y, splits off, splits off to two more. This tree probably struggling to live a little bit just on the inside of a cave. But I bet you see trees just on the edges of caves sometimes. And look at how I'm doing the tops of that tree. It's jittery lines, right? And I want to make it look like those branches are also in front of some of that foliage. Right? There we go. And I give it some of those jittery lines inside. And just like anything else, I got to make this thing look believable, right? Trees have texture, trees have bark. So I've got to make those lines, and those lines, you see how they're running up. They're running up with the tree. Now I'm starting to think about maybe I got some boulders behind this tree. We know how to do boulders now, right? Give it some squiggly contour lines, and texture. And I'll tell you guys, when I was growing up, I was not always the greatest artist in my class. I always thought there was kids that were better than me, but you know what? I never stopped. I think that is where I feel like I won, when I just kept going. And I didn't draw for years and years of my life. And then I went to college. I was like, holy smokes, you can get a degree in drawing. And I figured out I liked painting, and then I figured out I liked graphic design. And I'm just adding some more plants in here for depth, right? There's a lot going on. You see, I'm just filling my page up, right? There's things everywhere. Now I'm starting to think about what's way back here. So maybe way, way back here, we have like this giant rock. And maybe out of the top here, we're going to kind of fill that in. I got a giant rock on the ceiling. And maybe coming off of there, I'm going to start looking. I'm going to look at some reference pictures I pulled up on my computer, and I'll throw those in on the video for you guys.
Would you like to play the video for those in peril on your Fire TV?
Oh, that one's a cool drawing.
Would you like to play the video for those in peril on your Fire TV?
So I'm looking at my computer, and I can see that there's all sorts of different things I can add in here. That's a good reference one. So I look at pictures. Looking at pictures really helps kind of figure out what you want to do. So I'm going to start seeing maybe some stalactites and stalagmites way off in the distance back here. And you're going to be able to see I'm layering those. You see they're going to come down. These are just like the letter V. Some of them are really skinny. And some of these big ones are really fat. And maybe I'm going to focus, I think I'm going to focus on that kind of stuff happening over here. And now I'm coming up from the floor. So these are inverted V's, right? Or kind of like just a pointy. Maybe they come almost so close. You know what those are caused by? It's water in the caves. So you think about all the water that ends up in a cave, and it's the mineralization of that water, is my understanding. I could be wrong. Shoot, I didn't even look that up. I remember that from like, I don't know, science class from a long time ago. So I've got some of those working over here. Maybe this is like the scary part of the cave. I'm also going to just come through here. Make it look like I've got a lot of things, like a lot of rubble and broken rocks. Because when you go inside a cave, if you're a person that goes inside of a cave, you'd be spelunking. It's like a sport. I've only been in a few caves in my life. The caves are cool. There we go. Now I got all that to walk over, and I'm going to keep giving texture. So you see, I've done my stalactites, stalagmites. I might give those some texture too, and I need to give texture to all this stuff up front here. And I really see that we're making some good progress. I could even get into, yeah, there we go. Just lines that are kind of following these like spires. That's another word I would consider. Kind of look like spires. I feel like I need to add some more. Look, that one's almost touching this set up top. Maybe that one's a little wiggly. Just going through and giving them texture. Make them look like I believe they need to look. Right? Because they're when they're forming, they're growing, they're coming down or they're growing up. So they're gonna have lines that go with them. So I'm just making lines that go those same directions. Maybe we have some giant boulders coming out of this. Some more boulders in front. So we're drawing just loads of rocks, but I'm pretty sure that's all a cave is. Some emptiness with rocks all around it. Maybe I still have some grasses going back there. And maybe there's kind of like a ledge. Maybe it levels out. What if there was like a cave inside of a cave? Maybe this is like the deep, dark depths of the cave. So maybe I've got rocks coming behind these guys now. Now my drawing's getting really full. maybe this is where I'm going to have. Maybe there's like my cave inside of a cave. Maybe that's like where we would want to end up going. Maybe that's like the secret path to end up like some remote jungle, some interesting forest. Maybe some bears sleep in there. Maybe we're tracking bears. Who knows? Your imagination knows no limit as long as you don't let it. Now I feel like this looks really empty up in here, I'm noticing. So I need to fill those in. And it's all about the amount of detail you put in and textures. That is the artist's trick, is to make it look believable. And the way I see this now is I'm going to get my big Sharpie out and I am going to just start. This is where we can't see anymore. So I'm going to outline the outside with my thick Sharpie. And I'm just going to fill that guy in. Scribble, scribble, scribble. Because that's like the point of no return back there. Who knows if you'd come out from that cave. And then you notice I say this in other drawing videos, but it's something I mention all the time. You can see that I have the same thickness and texture of line, so I'm going to go back through. And I see right now, I just want to continue some of these way back there. Like there's just, it goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. Like there's layers on layers of those back there. And it's going to be hard to outline in a minute, but that's fine. Just pushing a marker around. Go, look, it goes way back. Yeah, it feels a little more scary over that direction, but I kind of like it. Got a few stragglers out here. Throw a little texture in those ones I just added. Yeah, I like that a lot better. Felt awkward to me, like there wasn't enough. So now, get back out medium-sized Sharpie. Oh, I don't like that one. I have a problem. I only like new Sharpies. Yeah, there we go. That's one's gonna be good. If you've been around me long enough, I have more Sharpies than I know what to do with. And I love using them. I love the crispness of the lines you can get out of them. So I'm just going to go through and I'm just going to outline these. Just be careful not to draw over what you already drew, but if you do, guess what? Let's say I accidentally drew over that one. Put a big old mark in it. Guess what? We fix it. Just like that, bam. Guess what? Maybe you didn't need to be there in the first place. And that's just an example of if your mind is fast enough for a response and you can kind of see through it, you can make mistakes as long as the day. And you can fix them because it's just a drawing. It's just a piece of paper. There we go. Making some progress. This almost looks like the inside of a monster's mouth or something is what I see it now. So I'm just going through. I'm going to just outline. Let me see how I'm doing that. Just outline. Then we can come back in. Love that sound of that Sharpie when it scribbles. My hands get tired sometimes. It's my wrists. I'm sure that happens to you guys too when you're in like writing class. Your hand starts hurting after you write too much. Same thing happens in drawing. Cool. It's pretty spooky back in there now. So now I'm going to come through with a thicker Sharpie, and maybe even my thickest Sharpie, and I'm going to just go over some of these lines to add some variation in thickness. And you'll just see it starts making your drawing really pop. See, I didn't even copy that one that great, but guess what? I can kind of squiggle and scribble over the top. I can add new lines right now. Go over some of my old lines. And this also helps frame this in. You see it's getting real thick. I should have done this maybe in the beginning with a thicker marker is what I'm seeing now, but guess what? I didn't know that then. And I want to do some of these lines out here just for impact. You see, when I go over them, it just makes things separate from each other. You can push things forward and pull things back with the thickness of your line. Maybe it's time to get the big guns out here. Yeah. My favorite thing about art overall takes my mind away. Helps me kind of change my mood. Kind of lets me travel in time and space to wherever I want to be. And that's relaxing. It feels good because I'm in control in my drawing. Especially in a time where maybe we don't have as much control as we used to, or we don't have a say in things. You know what? You have a say in your drawing and you can control the outcomes. And that is magic. Maybe I feel like I need to really kind of up my game. Some of these lines through here. Even in the tree, maybe the tree just needs to fill a little more full than it is. All right. I'm going to come back for just a minute. With my other Sharpie. Just making some more impactful lines. You don't want your lines to be all a sea of sameness. You want some of them to be bold and some of them to be skinny. Coolio. Look at that. That is our own, right? Secret cave within a cave, and then the scary part of the cave. Who knows what's living back there? Creepy crawlies, right? Well, Crown Point, always a great time drawing along with you guys. I love nothing more than seeing what you guys send back to me. So email those. Get your parents to put the Google Classroom app on their phone, and they can just take a little picture. with their smartphone, and then they can zip it along and attach it to this. Otherwise, you guys can always email me. You can just email expo@crownpointacademy.org, which ends up in my inbox. But make sure you're getting all your other classwork done first, because that stuff's really important. Drawing is not a skill everyone needs to grow up with. I think so, though. Makes you smart. But get your other classwork done. I hope you guys are doing really well at home. I hope you guys are healthy and happy, and at least to have a little fun in your day. And I hope I was part of that. So, till next time, catch you guys later.